Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mindfulness with Kelly. Today, we're going to talk about the power of vulnerability. And then we're going to do a just sitting practice, a just sitting meditation, which will take around 10 minutes or something like that. The reason why I chose vulnerability as the topic of discussion today is because I think it's a very underrated topic. And the reason why I chose it is because I wanted to explain a little bit of my struggles with vulnerability. And I think it's all based on, I guess, a lot of conditioned behavior and conditioned behavior of our whole life. So I guess, what is vulnerability? Vulnerability at its core is just the state of being exposed. And it's kind of that fight or flight. And I think with the conditioned state of our whole life being, get a grip, strive to go on, be perfect, stiff upper lip. It's such a culture that we have become kind of part of, and then it becomes a natural state of being. And back around 10 years ago, I had a lot of suffering, and I was kind of unable to get a grip and to continue. And what that brought for me is a lot of suffering, but I was also not capable of being able to step outside that get a grip, let's continue mode. And I think vulnerability is just really hiding behind shame and fear. And it's turning towards the imperfections of our being. And with turning towards being imperfect, you kind of, you're exposed of not being perfect. And that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to not be a perfect human being. And if we strive to continue to not be vulnerable and not see the warning signs in our life, we miss tremendous joy. We miss a sense of belonging and a sense of connection to ourselves and understanding ourselves more, and also a connection to others. So I guess it's about having the courage to be able to expose our imperfections. And people that embrace vulnerability, or the people that embrace the imperfections, and they're not afraid to release all the shields that we put around ourselves. The qualities that they have is the power to love themselves before they can love others. So they genuinely think that they're worthy. They genuinely think that they're worthy in order to help others. And those people have got a deep connection to their authenticity. And I think the best way to describe, your authentic self is your childlike state before you are conditioned to the world around you. Children are fascinating to watch because they're not afraid to do anything. They're not afraid to look silly. They're not afraid to be the first to fall over. They're not afraid because they've got no stigma behind that and no conditioned behavior. And the people that, I guess, have those deep connections with authenticity are not afraid of failure. But also, another quality is their purpose is higher than people's perception. So they're not afraid of what people think. And they disregard people's perceptions because they stick to their core values of seeking the truth. And I think just my experience, if you really embrace vulnerability, it's always something that I most probably struggle with in some form or of another, because I've got quite a high level of perfectionism, but I'm quite mindful of it. And it's something that, I know once you let go of that, because there's no such thing of being perfect. We're all imperfect beings, running around. And I guess once you actually notice that, life is very joyful, and you see the beauty in a lot more things than trying to be, kind of hidden and waiting to be exposed. I mean, it doesn't matter. I guess that's the question. So if we embrace vulnerability, you're able to find the true connection with others, and you're not afraid. So the fear subsides. You turn towards all those uncomfortable feelings, and you make them into joyful ones. So now we're going to do a just sitting meditation practice. We're going to do it for around 10 minutes. I'm going to guide you through, so there's nothing that you need to do. It's just connecting the mind to the body, which will enable you to build a valuable set of tools in order to be less reactive to uncomfortable or awkward body sensations. So when you're ready, you can either lie flat on the floor, you can choose a comfortable chair, or you can just sit however you would, however you'd like. But one of the most important things is having your back upright, whether it be in the chair. And you can put a cushion on your legs, so your hands are supported by a pillow. And we'll do a just sitting practice for around 10 minutes or so. So when you're ready, just close your eyes. And when you're ready, just come into your body. Just notice the clothes on your skin. Just check into your emotional tone. And just feel how your body feels now. There's no need to struggle with it. Just allow whatever to arise. And the more you practice mindfulness, the more you have a gap between, or the more you become more receptive and more creative with your responses. There's a gap between what arises and how you respond to it. So just feel the weight of your body on the cushion or the chair, or your back on the floor. And just be aware that you're noticing. Now just connect to your breath. And just notice the cycle of your breath. Just notice if the air is cool where it enters your body. And notice if it's warmer as your breath comes out of your body. So follow your breath in and out, whatever that means to you. Now I want you to take a deep breath and completely empty the breath from your lungs fully. Pushing all the last bits of air out. And just allow your breath to automatically continue. And just notice the rise and the fall of your belly. And just notice what that feels like. Because this exercise is a feeling exercise, it's not a thinking exercise. And just notice if your breath is shallow or it's deep. And as you notice your breath going in and going out, just try and notice if your back is straight or you've started to slouch over. And if you feel quite fidgety, just notice what that feels like. If you feel any discomfort, just allow it to be there. Because this practice is just turning towards our experience as it arises with openness. And if your mind wanders off, that's what minds do. Just come back to the breath and notice it flow all the way in and all the way back out again. And our breath naturally changes. If we exercise, it might be quicker. If we're in deep sleep, it could be slower. But just see how your overall body feels right now. You could feel highly energized, or you could feel a little bit tired, or you could feel neutral or not much sensation, and that's okay too. Now we're going to notice our thoughts. And our thoughts could be words. They could come out as pictures. Or they could be quite scatty. But just be aware you're noticing. Because the more we pay attention to our body tells us everything. The more we trust our body, and the less we trust our thoughts. And see if you can connect to the stillness. And if you're struggling with this exercise, if your mind is proliferating a load of thoughts, just notice what thought arises. And just allow those thoughts to be people being invited to a party. You don't have to engage with them. You can just let them walk past. Because there are a lot of thoughts that will want your attention. And all you have to do is just acknowledge the thought, thank the mind for bringing it up, and just see if you can come back to the practice. Because the more we practice this, the less we are reactionary to our thoughts, and the more we put trust in our body. So just now connect back to your breath. And just now feel your body on the cushion or the floor or the chair. And just come back into the room and notice the sounds inside the room. And notice the sounds outside the room. And just be aware that you're able to notice from a feeling point of view and not a thinking point of view. Because a lot of our thoughts can be very unhelpful. But as we proliferate them, they become real. But most of our thoughts, there's no fact. There's always assumption. And just connect back to your emotional tone. And just notice if anything has changed from the start of this exercise until now. Because our emotions change continually, and how we feel now is not going to be how we feel in 2 hours' time or this evening. Our minds and our emotions change like the weather. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and really congratulate yourself for making the effort, because all these small steps really make massive transformations within your life. And since I've been meditating for, continually for about 9 or 10 years, I know I've drastically changed as a person, but I can't pinpoint when I made the biggest changes, because it's always evolving and I'm always learning. So thank you very much for doing the session with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.